All right, welcome everyone. So in today's video, we are going to discuss about modern education system and policies. So a part of perspective in education, we are going to discuss about modern education system. What kind of policies we have adopted for the betterment, for the development of education system. So this is what education policies and system. So this modern education policy is divided into two major eras. It means period of times. Pre-independent education policy and post-independent education policy. So as we know that British colonies has entered our nation in 1600 AD. They have come to our nation for doing trade in 1600 AD. So from that period of time, from that particular year to 1947 is called the pre-independent education policies. It means British government has ruled our nation during that period of time. So the British government, the policies which what they have adopted is called pre-independent education policies. So after getting independent in 1947, so it means from 1947 to 2024, the policies which we have adopted, our government has adopted, is called post-independent education policies. So I hope you got a clear-cut idea about two eras in modern education policies. So it is not exact period, exact year of pre-independent policies. I am not saying that 1600 is the initiation of modern education. It is not like that. But when Britishers, when English people entered our nation, is a starting point of implementation of education policies in India. So from 1600 or from 16th century to 20th century, it means 1947. 1947 we consider it as the pre-independent because it is before independent. So after independent, post-independent policies. We know that in post-independent policies we have Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan Commission, we have Mudaliar Commission, we have Kothari Commission. We have so many kind of committees and commissions during post-independent era. And during pre-independent era, what kind of education system and policy we had? What kind of acts and charter acts we have? This is what we are going to discuss in this session. So guys, English education was introduced in India by Portuguese in 1575. So Portuguese people established a college called St. Anne's College in Bandra. In Bandra, you know that Bandra is in Mumbai. So in Mumbai, in Bandra area, they started a college called St. Anne's College for the development of English education and education system in India. So it is before the rule of British government, Portuguese people established this institution. So after that we know that in Cochin, so there was an establishment of printing press. So printing press was established in Cochin, and then this guy Carve, who was an educationist, he established a teachers training college in 1733. 1733, a teacher training college in Sri Rampur, Calcutta. Sri Rampur is in Calcutta, West Bengal. So in 1733, Mr. Carve has established a teachers training institution. So this is what the achievement, this is what the things which were done for the improvement of education system during that particular period of time by Portuguese people and English people. Then what happened? Then in 1790s, in 1790s, a great person called Charles Grant, who was a British official, he observed that, he got an idea that so Indian people were really poor in terms of education, in terms of culture, in terms of moralities. So he got an idea that the Christian missionaries must be introduced in India for the development of moralities and culture in India and Indian people. So this guy in 1792, in 1792, after observing Indian culture, he has written a book called Observation. So what is the name of the book? What is the name of the report? Written by Charles Grant. Charles Grant has written a book called Observation, and in that observation he stated that, he cleared that Indian people are really worse in terms of culture, in terms of moralities and education. They have so many problems related to socio-cultural aspects. They have caste system, they have beliefs, they have so many kind of bad things in their lives. He stated that this is what the opinion of Charles Grant, and he wants British government to introduce Christian missionaries in India, and he also wants British government to establish different kind of education institutions and formal education policies in India to improve, to develop the education system in India. So if you develop education system in India, so automatically what will happen? The culture and moralities of Indian people will be improved. So this is what the belief Charles Grant had. And because of his hard work, because of his sheer dedication, along with his friend called Wilberforce. Wilberforce is also a great social worker who worked in India along with Charles Grant. He helped Charles Grant to implement his ideas. So Charles Grant advised British government to implement a formal education system in India for the betterment of Indian people. So, in the result of that, what happened? In 1813 Charter Act. So there was a Charter Act in 1813, 1793. So like that. So in 1813 Charter Act. So this was the act, okay, by the British government. In 1813 Charter Act, British government has released 1 lakh rupees. How much? 1 lakh rupees. 1 lakh rupees for the improvement of Indian education system. So this 1 lakh rupees is for every year. So the people think that only 1 lakh rupees. Not only 1 lakh rupees. Every year they have to spend 1 lakh rupees for the improvement of education system, to implement science and technology, to implement revival in terms of literature of India, to improve the moral values of Indian people. Because we know that we have so many defects in terms of Indian culture and tradition. So we have untouchability, we have caste system, we have so many things like illiterate people, poverty, so many kind of things we had, and problems in that particular era. Okay, to overcome from that problem, Mr. Charles Grant, what he suggested India's British government to have a special focus on Indian education system. So that's why he is called as father of Indian education. Father of Indian education. So who is the father of Indian education? Mr. Charles Grant, father of education in India. So this is what also an important question. Okay, Charles Grant is considered as the father of Indian education. So he has written a book called Observation. What book did he write? Observation. Observation is a book written by Charles Grant. So in Charter Act 1813, the British government finally agreed to sanction 1 lakh rupees. So they have taken more than 20 years to approve the proposal of Mr. Charles Grant. They thought a lot, why should we spend 1 lakh rupees for Indian people for their education? So after thinking a lot, they have decided that they will spend 1 lakh rupees for Indian education system. So they have spent it, they have sanctioned it, but again a problem and conflict arises. They sanctioned the amount for 1 lakh rupees, but they did not mention clearly that in what area they are going to spend this amount. There are so many clashes and conflicts in terms of spending 1 lakh rupees. So this particular thing leads to Orientalist and Anglicist in India. So there were two groups in India, Orientalist and Anglicist. So this particular 1 lakh rupees, this particular 1813 Charter Act created two group of people in India, Anglicist and Orientalist. So Orientalist means, very important, okay, listen to me carefully. Orientalists are traditional thinkers who believes in Indian culture. These Orientalist people ask the government to spend this particular amount for education system in vernacular language. It means they are demanding for, okay, vernacular, it means local language education system. Local language, okay, Sanskrit, Arabic, Persian, we have so many languages in India. So they are demanding that. They demanded that the education must be taught in vernacular language. What language? Vernacular language. What is the meaning of vernacular language? Vernacular language means local language. Vernacular language means local language. So these Orientalists, okay, proposed, the Orientalists demanded for the education system to be in vernacular language, and these Anglicists, okay, demanded education should be in English language, because English is an international language. It is a kind of window to the world. It is a kind of sophisticated language. They believe that. Who? Anglicist. In Anglicist, especially Raja Ram Mohan Rai. Raja Ram Mohan Rai demanded for English education system in India. And Orientalist, especially Hastings, Minto, Princess. Okay, they come under what? Orientalist. So these Orientalist people believe in the education to be implemented in vernacular language. So Orientalist means Hastings, Minto and Princess. And who is Anglicist? Raja Ram Mohan Rai. Raja Ram Mohan Rai demanded for what? The education system in English. So English must be introduced in India. Okay, the English language must be the medium of instructions. So this is what the demand of Raja Ram Mohan Rai. So there are two kind of people conflicted with each other, and they were unable to decide that, okay, what to be adopted and what not to be adopted. And again, it was delayed. Okay, it was delayed for 20 to 30 years again. So in this period of time, Lord Minto, Lord Minto established a school and college for women, girls. So girls college. So this British official Lord Minto encouraged women education in India. So they may ask the question from this area, who encouraged women education in India? Lord Minto. Lord Minto established women and girls colleges and schools, girls schools and women colleges in India. And then what happened? Ishwari Chandra Vidyasagar. Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar also encouraged women to be studied. So these all people work very hard for the improvement of education in India, especially these people, Minto and Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, supported women to be educated. So after 20 years again, when William Bentinck became Governor General of India in 1834, he called Lord Macaulay, who is the first law member of India. Lord Macaulay, first law member of India. Very crucial, very important question. Who was the first law member of Executive Council of Governor General? So he was the first law member of Executive Council of Governor General. Who? Lord Macaulay. So he called Lord Macaulay in 1834. In 1834, who? Governor General William Bentinck. So we need to remember all Governor Generals. So in what period of time? Okay, this particular education policy is implemented, and who was the Governor General? Who implemented it? In what year implemented? So what are the points covered during that period of time? This is what very important in perspective in education. So when we focus on this kind of areas, we should not miss very important point. So the very important point is he was the first law member of Executive Council of Governor General. So Lord Macaulay was called by William Bentinck to solve this problem. So he asked Lord Macaulay to solve this problem, how to spend 1 lakh rupees, whether the education should be in vernacular language, it means local languages, or English language. This is what William Bentinck want him to do. So in 1935, February 2nd, Lord Macaulay submitted his report. In 1935, February 2. In some books it was written February 8. And the correct date is February 2. February 2. On February 2, 1835, Lord Macaulay, after researching, after having a lot of research on Indian people and culture and also in education system, he finally released and submitted his report to Lord William Bentinck. This Macaulay had believed in Indian English education. Okay, he thinks that Indian education and Indian languages are not better than English. He is a great supporter of English language. And along with that, Raja Ram Mohan Rai supported him. So this guy has introduced, okay, a new theory called down filtration theory. Down filtration theory. So in his report, he mentioned Lord Macaulay, who was appointed by William Bentinck to solve this problem. What problem? Orientalist problem, Anglicist problem. Okay, we are clearly discussing what is happening in the history of British rule, especially in terms of education policies. I have clearly told you that, so there are two eras in modern education policies: pre-independent era, post-independent era. So now we are discussing pre-independent era. All the commissions, all the charter acts, all the policies which were implemented by British government. During 1813, they have sanctioned 1 lakh rupees, but they are unable to spend it because of this particular conflict called Orientalist and Anglicist. So Anglicists are demanding for English education, and Orientalists are demanding for education in vernacular language. So to solve this problem, in 1834, William Bentinck appointed a commission. So we appointed Macaulay. So this is what called Macaulay Minute in Indian history. So this is what a very crucial period, crucial year in Indian history, because in 1835 English was introduced in India. Because of the report, because of the minute of Macaulay, English was introduced in 1835. So in Macaulay minute, Macaulay suggested for down filtration theory, a new kind of theory, down filtration, because this guy is a huge supporter of English people, huge supporter of English language. He thinks that English language is superior, and he doesn't have that much of concern related to the development of education in India. I think so, because he implemented down filtration theory. So with this 1 lakh, okay, the government should not spend a lot of money on Indian people. Just they have to spend the amount on some selected people. That is what down filtration theory. So what is the meaning of down filtration theory? Only few people will be educated by British government. Okay, so only having, okay, a focus on very few people, and they will they will spread the education system, they will spread education informally. So the education, the implementation is not for all the people, only for some selected and sophisticated people, some higher category people. So this 1 lakh rupees is for only higher authorities, higher class people, and they spend for higher class, and they implemented this policy. This is what called down filtration policy. So another example of down filtration is, for example, if we have a family, we should not give education to all the family members. Just we need to give a family member who is head, and rest of the education will be spreaded by that particular guy. So that is what down filtration. So simply down filtration policy is giving education to some selected people who are in higher classes. So this is what he suggested, and he suggested that English must be implemented. English must be implemented in education system. What education system? Indian education system. And we have a great quote, a famous quote of Macaulay. Macaulay stated that Indians in blood and color, but English in taste, opinion, and moral, and also intellectual. So the group of people, the Indian group of people, must be Indian in terms of color. So only we should be Indian in terms of color and blood, and our opinion, our taste, our intellect, our moralities must be like Englishman. That is what he quoted in that report. So after a lot of clash, after a lot of controversies, a lot of barriers, 1 lakh rupees was sanctioned for the development of education in English. So then what happened? Then in India, 1 lakh rupees was spent every year, and then we have a great event is called Votes Dispatch. Now we'll have a discussion on Votes Dispatch. Woods dispatch in 1854. After Macaulay Minute, we know that we are discussing education policies by British government. In 1813, they had a chart. They sanctioned 1 lakh rupees. In 1835, William Bentinck appointed Macaulay, Lord Macaulay, and now in 1854, Harding, Lord Harding was Governor General of India. Who is this guy? Lord Harding. Lord Harding. So, as I said, we must remember the names of governor generals during education policies, like William Bentinck, Lord Harding. In 1854, he appointed whom? He appointed Woods. Okay, Woods, a scholar called Wood, for reviewing education system in India. So Wood's dispatch was very crucial, very important in education system during pre-independent era, because it has suggested so many different kind of innovative ideas related to Indian education system. So it is Wood's dispatch. Dispatch means Woods. Okay, Woods is a name of a person. Dispatch means report or document. So they may ask question like this also. Report or document. Report or documents. What is the meaning of dispatch? Dispatch means report or document. So it means Woods report related to education system. So this became very famous. This became very important in education policies because it suggested so many good things related to education. That's why it is called as Magna Carta of Indian education. Magna Carta of Indian education. Wood's dispatch is called as Magna Carta of English education in India. English education in India. English education in India. So it is a Magna Carta, the very famous report it is. So this Wood's dispatch is very famous because Wood's dispatch Wood's dispatch focused on mass education. So this dispatch focused on mass education. Very important, guys. How it is different from Macaulay Minute. Macaulay suggested down filtration theory. Only selective people should be educated. But this report is completely against Macaulay. This report do not believe in Macaulay Minute because giving education to only selected people is not proper, he said. Mass education should be implemented. So education for all, isn't it? Mass education should be implemented. This is what very important thing in education system. Board of control is appointed during this period of time. They have suggested for board of control for the improvement of education system. Remember it, don't forget. Board of control. So this Wood's dispatch suggested for board of control, so which is an official body. And Wood's dispatch also suggested for secularity in education. Secularity in education. You know what is secular? Everybody knows what is secular. not involving religion in education, not involving religious activities in education. So Wood's dispatch, which is a Magna Carta in English education, Wood's dispatch, what they have suggested for what secularity in education, secularity in education. They have what they suggested for mass education, not individual education, not giving education to selected people like Macaulay Minute. Board of control was appointed. Board of control. And female education was given a lot of important. Female education, these things, education was given a lot of importance. Was given a lot of importance. So, as we know that the British officials like Lord Minto, and Ishwari Chandra Vidyasagar, these all people worked hard for the development of female education. This Wood's dispatch also suggested for female education system. Okay, and they have suggested for teachers education. Teachers education, teachers training colleges. Sorry, teachers training colleges. So teachers must be trained. This is what Woods suggested to English government, and they also suggested for grant in aids. Grant in aids. Remember it. Who suggested for grant in aids? Woods dispatch. Okay, in DSC we may get this kind of questions. Who suggested for grant in aids? Woods dispatch, Macaulay Minute, and 1913 Charter Act, Sargent Commission. What? Woods dispatch. Who suggested secularity in education? Woods dispatch. So this is what we need to understand. Grant in aids. Okay, free grants should be provided for India, and they also suggested that in primary level, at primary level, vernacular language, and it means local language should be given importance. In Macaulay Minute, English language was given important. In Wood's dispatch, at primary level, only vernacular language should be given importance. It means the medium of instruction, the subject should be taught in vernacular language, in local languages. And at upper primary level, both English and vernacular should be used. Okay, at primary level, vernacular. At upper primary level, both English and local language. Local, it means vernacular and English, both. You need to remember these points. At primary level, vernacular, upper primary level, local language and English language should be used. And at university level, English should be introduced. Who said this? Wood's dispatch. That's why it is a Magna Carta in English education. That's why it is really a good policy introduced by Woods. And the report was submitted to Dalhousie, Governor General of India. Okay, and hierarchy education is hierarchy in education. Okay, it is also introduced in during this period of time. So this is what very important in terms of chart. I have given a clear-cut idea. You need to remember these all things, these all points which are very important. And 3 universities, very crucial, very important in almost all the competitive exams. Okay, they have asked. Okay, when we attended for DSC and all teachers exams. Okay, we found these kind of questions, especially 3 universities, Madras, Calcutta, in Bombay. Bombay, Calcutta, and Madras. Bombay, Calcutta, and Madras universities were okay established. Okay, they have okay. Woods Dispatch suggested for three universities in India: Calcutta University, Bombay University, and Madras University. This means Chennai. So these three universities were, and also these along with these all things, education system was improved a lot because of the report, because of the document of votes. So here, so far we have discussed about what 1793 Charter Act, 1813 Charter Act, Mecaulay Minutes, Woods Dispatch. These all things are very important, and the video is becoming longer and longer. So I want to stop here, and in our next video I will come up with other commissions during pre-independent era. Thank you.